Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic:
what addiction is the hardest to quit? I've heard a Harvard psychiatrist who specializes in addictions say the addiction that's hardest to treat is the one where the patient says that it makes them feel like a normal person. Like it makes them feel like everyone else. Because that's a really hard thing to give up, feeling normal. Didn't think this would blow up like this. Check out Drive K on YouTube and Twitch. KATUSM didn't know you were so active on Reddit, my bad, so I would have tagged you right away. Healthy gamer GG. This is exactly why I started doing drugs. Painkillers and meth removed my anxiety and let me feel just normal and able to function around other people. Then one day I got anxiety while high on meth and it never went away while high. And because you're on meth, the anxiety gets multiplied by 100. I had to be very careful about what I did around other people because I would be shaking so bad that it would give me away. Literally couldn't hold a pen and write my name. 2 years sober in June. Edit, thank you everyone. I did not expect this. I really appreciate it. I'm an addict, but I'm not the kind that needs to take every last bit or drink every last ounce. I don't even like to be fucked up, but I need a little alteration constantly. Could be weed, wine, kratom, kava, nicotine, and/or caffeine. I'm just addicted to not feeling normal. I've done a lot of inner work, examinations of my trauma, meditation, even exercising a few days a week. I feel so uncomfortable in my skin without just a little nip, toke, pill, or puff. I'm starting to think it could be untreated ADHD. Edit, this is why I love Reddit. The overwhelming majority of these comments are supportive and kind. I feel a fair amount of shame for my shortcomings, but it's so nice to read all these comments from folks just like me. We're all here because we're not all there. Thank you. I also don't understand how people are just out there raw dogging reality. Heroin, worst shit ever. Was addicted to it for 7 years. Heavy, you need it to wake up, eat, piss, shit, sleep, you have to have it to do anything, and getting off is like nothing you can even imagine or compare it to. It literally made me suicidal coming off it, really, like I would have blown my brains out if there was a gun in my reach. I had to get on the methadone program and you gotta take that every single day, sucks. But I'm off dope and off the methadone, clean 6 months, and will never in my life touch that shit ever in my life again. It's pure devil's blood. Good work, man. Shit is hard as hell, but you did it. Good fucking work, FR. I was a heavy smoker for 15 years. Quit cold turkey. Never was addicted to porn. I kicked a cocaine habit. Being a high-functioning alcoholic is probably something I'll never be able to beat. Trying to quit drinking hurts me physically and mentally so badly, and it doesn't really affect my life right now, so I justify not putting myself through it. I know I am shortening my life by not quitting, but I still just can't do it. Quitting alcohol can be done. In my experience, it takes time, patience, multiple relapses, and a mindset reset. It has taken me about 3 years to develop a distaste for alcohol, but I was a functional alkie for about 20 years. Go for it. You won't regret it. Yeah, a big thing you learn in recovery is that relapse is part of recovery. Too many people let a relapse define their recovery journey. Scrolling. It's honestly the only thing holding me back from accomplishing so many things in my life. It has such a hold on me. Edit, for those asking, I have 2 freelance, work-from-home jobs. I'm finding it harder to stay motivated, complete work, exercise, run errands, cook, eat healthy, etc. Because I work online, the temptation is always there. It's easier to order delivery, stay in bed, and avoid work. Short-form content like YouTube Shorts and Reels are my new issue. One moment you're watching a handful of them, next thing you know you haven't moved in 48 minutes and it's dark outside. It really is hypnotism. The worst is when you close out of scrolling for the past 45 minutes, only to hear the silence of the aloneness around you. The thoughts of how you are uninteresting and have nothing to do and no friends starts to set in. You start thinking positively, like, how can I start a new hobby? Maybe I'll look up a video on how to start a knitting project. Opens YouTube, sees, I gave $100,000 to the first person WHO looked at me, YouTube short. Well, I have to see this real quick, clicks, next, another 30 minutes of doom scrolling. Am I in the mood to watch a film? Nah, that'll take 90 minutes. I'll just have a look at TikTok for 15 minutes. 2 hours later. This is what I tell my friends anytime I pitch a movie idea and one of them groans like, ugh, so long though, and it's like, bro, you ain't kidding anyone. I see the circles under your eyes. You were up for hours last night scrolling TikTok. Don't tell me you don't have time, lol. Cocaine was hard. Booze was harder. Cancer sticks were the hardest. Took me 2 solid years of trying to quit. I'd go 2 to 3 days, then have a whole pack. I finally waited until I got the flu really bad and haven't smoked on cigarette in 2,256 days. According to my app, that's 31,578 cigarettes not smoked and over $200, not spent. The last pack I purchased was over $17.50 here in California. Agreed. I quit alcohol, cocaine, crack, Adderall, weed, and cigarettes 6 years ago. The only thing I still crave is cigarettes. Can confirm I used to know someone who managed to quit heroin and cocaine after taking both at the same time, but he couldn't kick smoking for the life of him. As far as I know, he may be doing it to this day. Food, you have to do it so can't stop. I heard a quote one time. It was something along the lines of how addiction is like owning a tiger that you have to get into a cage and lock it, whereas with food addiction, you still have to take that tiger out and walk it 3 times a day. Exactly. You can quit most and never touch it ever again aside from major withdrawals like drugs that require medical help. Food is harder than most because you have to eat. Making healthy choices is a lot harder than quitting smoking or alcohol in my experience. Food addiction. Because you literally cannot quit, you just have to find a way to moderate your use without ever being able to. You have to completely reshape your relationship with food, which is arguably much harder than just stopping whatever you're addicted to and having an out of sight, out of mind approach. You cannot ignore food. Even if you were a monk in the Himalayas, you still need to eat. Long-term benzodiazepines. Maybe deep alcohol use as well. Anything GABA related is hell. Benzos, if you want to quit, often taken months, maybe even a year just to get off slowly, and then you're not guaranteed to feel normal, good for an extended period of time after that. It's hell on earth, and even heroin addicts will often say they'd rather kick heroin many times over than go through that. I got off these about 10 years ago after I had a doctor who prescribed me a ridiculously high dose. I didn't feel totally back to normal for 6 months, and even then I realized that all the social skills I had learned were learned when I was on benzos, so they were basically skills for another person, so I had to relearn social skills for the person I actually was. The thing that's really scary is that coming off of them makes you feel like you are literally going insane. I was not living in reality during that time, and that's a scary thing. Having said that, I saw people that were on these things for like 15 years or whatever, and they were really fried. Their memory was shot. My memory is already worse than it was, but at least I got off them when I did. I can totally relate to this. Benzo withdrawal is so hard to explain to someone who hasn't gone through it. It's pure hell, and yes, you do feel like you're going insane. I remember coming off benzos and had to go to the ER several times because I could feel my brain like short-circuiting, and this was after 2 weeks of literally wanting to die every waking second of single every day. Fucking hell. The physical withdrawals from opiates are horrible, but the intense mental withdrawals from benzos are on another level. I agree, benzo withdrawals have a psychological aspect to them that opiates don't. I very foolishly tried quitting Klonopin cold turkey a couple years ago. The first 4 or 5 days weren't too bad, but by the time I reached day 10 my mind was in a very weird and terrifying place. Sugar. Last year as a New Year's resolution I quit all added sugar, much to the chagrin of my fiancé, for almost 11 months. Once I went to Italy and had cheesecake though, it was over and I haven't been close to going back. Though I do try and be conscious. In the beginning I was experiencing withdrawal and lost like 25 to 30 pounds, and I was already unhealthily underweight, so sugar in general is probably just bad. You say you were already unhealthily underweight. Perhaps this wasn't sugar, withdrawals, but were having low blood sugar or going into some starvation mode or ketosis or something. Sugar or food in general. Most others you can quit cold turkey through willpower and never do it again. Food on the other hand you have to eat to survive. Choosing healthy foods over sugar or carbs is harder because you have to eat. Sugar specifically causes similar neural chemical effects to opiates, but way stronger. This is not the case for other foods. I think smoking. I have seen many smokers relapse after abstaining from it for a decade or more. It's super easy to quit smoke. I did it 78 times. 1000% nicotine addiction gets deep in your soul and does not leave. I quit New Year's Day, 2012 and lasted 6 years. Then in 2018 I got divorced and started again. And I swear when I went back at it, I smoked more than I did from 1990 to 2012. Anyway, I was back at it from 2018 New Year's Day 2023, then I quit again. So I have been nicotine free for 1 year and 3 months now. I don't plan on ever starting again. I've quit nicotine cold turkey 2 times in my life. I don't ever want to go through that again. I also am a recovering opiate addict. So essentially, I've quit 2 of the hardest substances known to man to quit. I just smoke weed and occasionally take mushrooms now. Far better than nicotine and opiates. But you're right, it gets in your soul, and doesn't leave. Whenever I see guys I work with on a smoke break, I always say, so is nicotine still as awesome as ever? Then I give them a nervous fake laugh and get back to work. Life is good smiley face. Alcohol. Withdrawals don't just feel bad, it can kill you. So much worse than what we think until we've seen it. This is the hardest. It's advertised everywhere, so even if you do quit, you're pretty much triggered every day. It also has become such a staple in everyday life, and it's easily accessible. It's kinda crazy how normalized alcohol addiction is now. Like, imagine if we didn't have alcohol and someone invented it now. No way people would legalize that shit. Nicotine for me, very hard to quit. Biologically, psychologically speaking, it is in fact the #1 most addictive drug on the market. And it's rather useless. There's hardly any fun in smoking.